Good. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. It's lovely for you to join us. Well, lovely for everybody to join us actually, because it's been a while since I've done one with other people here, so it should be nice or
It'll be fun. Heck yeah.
chaotic. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've just got Cricket here. He's coming to join me again. He's becoming a regular.
Yeah, you're gonna get used to seeing my face, I think. And then next week we are interviewing Oliver Robbins and David Howard Thornton together. That'll be so much fun, Scotty. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
That'll be fun too. I couldn't wait for this one. Oh, Michael, the things we need to talk about.
Definitely. So we might as well just jump straight into it then and go nuts.
Do it. Do it.
So could you tell us a little bit about your background, how you actually got into filmmaking and what you've done prior to that?
Well, I was a musician for about 8 years before this happened, and I was in a progressive metal band, and we played all around Hollywood. We had a decent little following around Hollywood, and I had no aspirations to be a filmmaker. And then when I explored this supposedly haunted asylum and had this horrible experience when I got home where there were demons in my bed and everything, I don't know if it was a psychotic delusion or paranormal, but it frightened me so bad it just gave me an idea that was connected to an asylum. So then I had to I came up with the idea for the asylum, but then I needed to get the characters to that place. So part one of the Dead Place is about getting all the characters to the Dead Place where the rest of the trilogy is going to play out. So I was, I was a musician. Like I said, I had no aspirations for being a filmmaker, and then all of a sudden this idea entered my head, and I just became obsessed with it, and I'm still obsessed with it to this day. I mean, everything I've done in my filmmaking career was to be prepared for this. I was a student of filmmaking, a student of the horror genre. That's why we had a horror variety show. That's why we had a horror podcast. So it's all been preparing for this moment. It's finally here.
What asylum was it that you went
I
to?
was literally just going to ask the same question.
Yeah, it's called the Rancho Los Amigos Abandoned Asylum in Downey, California, and you can find quite a few videos and stuff on it, with people exploring it and all that. But it was in the 30s. It was used for like tuberculosis patients, and then it was used for the ne'er-do-wells of the neighborhood that they couldn't take care of in any of the facilities, so they kind of send them there, and it was like a boarding
kind
house. Yeah, like that. And then one year the police found a bunch of body parts in the freezer in the basement.
Oh. Ew.
We don't have anything but that over here. We're bored. What the? So, just completely off rounds. So, did they find out whose body parts they were and who put them there?
No, it was actually the cops that they were using the buildings to do exercises and to practice clearing out a building. And they just found an old freezer in there full of body parts, and they were all wrapped up really tight. I'm not sure what they were doing in there.
Oh,
wow.
God, that sounds like something like straight out of a horror movie in itself, doesn't it? So it's like
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can feel something there. Like there's something in the air when you walk around there. I still feel it when we go back there sometimes. And just after exploring those buildings, I came out of there and it just the feeling of dread wouldn't leave me until I seen those demons in my bed.
Have you ever been to the Cecil Hotel there? I think it's there in LA.
Oh no, I'd like to go, but it's right up there by Skid Row, so there's a lot of shenanigans going on up there.
Yeah. There's a lot. I know the Ghost Adventures crew went there. Good old Zach Bagans went there. And oh my gosh, they have, when they did their live broadcast, whatever, like some of these crackheads were taking their cameras and stuff. It's insane. You can find it on Discovery Plus has the episode where they went there. It's insane. So definitely watch it, Michael. Definitely watch it. I want to go there. We want to go there. When we come there to film, we want to go there. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
we do.
You're going to have to send me some pictures.
Oh, heck yeah. Definitely.
Just be careful in that neighborhood.
Oh no, we're taking you with us. You're gonna protect us.
Okay. Okay.
She's dragging you along. Going down. If you're all going down, everybody's going down together.
We're all screwed.
Oh my god,
Oh my god.
that's hilarious. Oh no, that's proper creepy though, isn't it? Like, have you ever had? Sorry, we're still going back to that, and it's supposed to be the next section, but I've just gone off on one again. But have you ever had anything happen like that to you before that incident?
Well, that's by far the worst and the scariest.
Mhm.
But I've had quite a few run-ins with the paranormal because I've been interested in it my whole life. Ever since I was a kid, my mom always told me this story about her dad was dying while she was pregnant with me.
Oh, wow.
So she was crying day and night, and then he finally died while she was pregnant with me, and then she was just inconsolable. And she was about to miscarry me. She was so upset and crying day and night. So she said her dad appeared to her in the doorway, and she didn't even know whether she was gonna have a boy or a girl. And he pointed to her and he said, "You need to stop crying. I'm okay. You need to take care of that little guy in your stomach."
Oh.
So that always made me feel like connected, like almost my grandfather came from another dimension and saved me from being miscarried. So I always felt that connection. So I always went around to a lot of haunted places and stuff. And I lived in Mississippi, and everybody there was super scared of any kind of haunted places. So I'd be in town hanging out, and some people would just a carload of people that I didn't even know would come pick me up and say, "Hey, we want to take you to a haunted place and just leave you there and see what you can find." And then one time they dropped me off at this house that was supposed to be haunted, and I went up to the door, and the door was not only locked, it was like jammed shut as if it was nailed shut. So I twisted on the knob and I shook it as hard as I could, and I pounded on the door and I tried to get in. I could not get in for nothing. So then I just sat on the porch and I waited for them to come back. And they pulled up to pick me up, and I started walking away from the house, and I said, "I couldn't get in. The door was closed and it shut tight." And they said, "What are you talking about?" And I turned around and looked, and the door was wide open.
Oh my gosh.
So
Wow.
I tried everything to get that door open.
Wow.
And
That's
then
great.
I don't know if you've heard of downtown Ventura, California. It's up south of Santa Barbara. But I just I discovered the little downtown area there. There's actually 11 documented haunted places just in the downtown area. And there's this hotel there called the Bella Maggiore Inn. It's like a 150-year-old hotel. And there's supposed to be 3 different spirits in there. And I stayed in a room where a hooker died in the 30s. She hung herself in the closet. So I stayed in her room. And when we got there, we unlocked the door, opened up, and went in. And we set our stuff down in the bed. We went to the bathroom and everything. Everything was fine. We went down to the car to get the rest of our bags, came back up, and someone had taken a shower in the bathroom. There
Oh.
was there was a towel laid out on the floor. There was wet footprints on the towel. The mirror was fogged up and everything. And we were like, "What the heck?" And we went down to the front desk and we said, "Somebody, just long enough for us to go down to our car and come back, somebody came in and took a shower in our room." And they said, "Oh yeah, that's Sylvia. She plays games like that with our guests all the time."
What the hell? That's
So
Man.
that's a little hotbed for paranormal activity right there
Wow.
in Ventura.
Montavious has put, "I recommend everyone taking a trip to Vegas and go to the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum."
Bacon. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. He's the host for Ghost Adventures. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You
Yeah,
really
I
want to
would
go
love to go to his museum and see that sometime.
Yeah, because everybody I know who's gone to that place has some kind of experience. I think even Montavious had nightmares for a couple weeks after visiting that place.
Oh, wow. Seriously. You have to put it in the chat, Montavious. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so nosy
Yep.
now. Like, what's going on? This is turning into a ghost, a ghost interview.
Real ghost.
Crazy. Had nightmares for 2 weeks straight. Jeez, crazy stuff.
Yeah, I stopped doing ghost hunting when that thing followed me home from the Villisca Axe murder house, like in Villisca, Iowa, which is about maybe 2 hours from here, if that. And yeah, I went there, and my mom and dad were friends with the caretaker, and his name was Darwin. He's the cutest little old man, and wore overalls, had like caps on his teeth, just the cutest, sweetest guy. He passed away now, but yeah, there's an episode, I think the very first time Ghost Adventures went to the Villisca Axe Murder House, where Darwin is on there. He gave them the tour and told them all about everything. But at the time, they were giving away pieces of the roof because they had just redone the roof on the barn that's right next to the house. And I mean, this is the original roof from back when the murders took place. And at that time, it was so crazy, these murders that happened in this small town, that it pushed the sinking of the Titanic off the front pages. And they've never been solved to this day. And it's just crazy stuff. But once I heard that, and I know I've told you guys the story, and anybody else that wants to hear it can ask me. I won't go into it because it's a long story. But oh my gosh, yeah, crazy, crazy stuff. I'm a complete believer, and I haven't done any investigating since, but I would like to get back into it. I think I'm brave enough. I think we'll see.
Well, I was spooked away from it for a long time. Like after that thing happened where the demons were in my bed and everything, I was like, screw this. I played with fire too much and I got burned, so I'm not going to try this anymore. And finally, after years later, the fear finally wore off, and I became obsessed again with finding out exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So crazy, isn't it? Like, you can have these experiences, and it's obviously set you down this path, like to want to actually write about it and make a movie. So, like, obviously I've seen some of the videos you put out, but I want to just ask you, what is the Dead Place? Like, what can you tell us about your movie and stuff? Because there'll be people watching it that have not seen anything.
Yeah, didn't
Well,
you? Wasn't it an official selection at the Shock Fest? I think I'm saying it right. Shock Fest Film Festival for your
yeah,
script.
I entered in. Yeah, I entered in the Shawquest Film Festival, and it was official selection there, but it didn't win. And then I got Steve Deering involved as a producer, and he's done script coverage, is what they call it. It's like a creative consultant. He's done it for the John Wick films, the Moonlight film, a bunch of the Hotel Artemis, a bunch of really good movies like that. So when he came aboard, he fully analyzed the script, and we sat down and just fleshed out all the themes and made everything make sense, and beefed up the characters and everything like that, because it needed fully exploring, because it was originally one movie, and I had given it to a director, an established director, who said he wanted this to be his next movie. And when he read it, he said, "There's no way. It's too much of a sprawling story for an independent director to do." And it had three different themes, three distinct themes, that it needed to stick to one theme. And I was kind of resentful toward that at first. And I was like, no, let me take another look at it. And I was like, yeah, it does touch on three entirely different themes. And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted for it. And then when I started thinking about the potential of splitting it into a trilogy, I seen that I could explore each one of those themes separately. So the theme of the first one is to be, tortured by an evil that no one else understands. And then I wanted to do like a bullying aspect, but I wanted to tell a story about bullying in a different way, to where not only is it a kid, like Isaac's not the kind of kid who gets bullied. He doesn't allow people to bully him, and the people that are trying to bully him, they're being influenced by the evil too, to think that Isaac is the bad guy. So the people's intentions are kind of warped in it, where it's not so black and white. And then I wanted to explore the theme of people having paranormal experiences and other people thinking they're crazy. Like if someone has delusions and seeing ghosts everywhere, they think, oh, you're schizophrenic, you have delusions. So I wanted to explore, what if a psychiatrist misdiagnosed someone and started treating them in the wrong way, when they should really just listen to them and try to believe their experiences so they can help them in a real way. So I wanted to explore all that with this movie.
That's awesome. It sounds like it's going to be a really fun and interesting sort of premise because I've not really seen anything like that, and especially like using like the mental health and bullying aspect. That's really, really different, I think. What do you think, Cricket?
Oh yeah. That's one of my favorite things about that I found out about The Dead Place is that it does, you do hint on mental health issues. You do hint on bullying and oh my gosh, like so many of us have so many issues with mental health and struggles with it. I mean, my own brother committed suicide a few years ago, so it's very near and dear when anybody does anything for mental health as it is. And I know this is kind of not going to focus too much on mental health, but in a way it kind of does. So I'm pretty excited to I can't wait for the script. I can't wait for the story just to see what that is. I'm pretty pumped. I'm excited.
You know, we labored over that thing until I felt so proud of it because that's the only way that I was going to charge into this because it's such an ambitious project. And then if it didn't come through, it would have ruined my career. So that I really needed to be proud of it and to be 100% sure of it before I dove in. And then once Steve Deering started analyzing that script and we put our heads together on it, everything that I wasn't sure about the script just kind of came together.
How did you?
Um
Oh, sorry.
oh sorry, go ahead,
No,
Scotty.
you go first. You go first. It's okay.
I was just wondering, so I know I've read somewhere before a whole list. You have a whole list of movies that have inspired you to write The Dead Place or have some inspiration to you for that. Can you kind of give us some inclination as to what some of those were?
Let me see. I wrote down some notes here. Well, the only movie I could think of that directly influenced The Dead Place, all those movies that I mentioned on the site are ones that informed me as a filmmaker and inspired me as a filmmaker. But actually, the story of The Dead Place, if I compare it to anything, it's Evil Dead. I basically, when I came up with the idea, I just wanted to make my own Evil Dead, like my own version of Sam Raimi's first film, you know. So, but just because I like to explore the concept of demons, but I actually wrote it first based on what I had inside and people that I knew, and then I started looking at outside influence to see where did I get that idea, or is there any other movies that are like this? Because I did the same thing when I was a musician. If I search for other art that's in this medium, and if it's anything like mine, I'd make changes to it. I don't want to copy anybody else's work. I don't want to do anything that's been done before. I completely resist that. Just like the bullying concept. We've seen bullying approached so many times in the same way in movies like this. That's why I wanted to twist it around and give it a different dynamic. That's why I wanted to take a possession type film and mix it with slasher elements. You know, I wanted to keep it 100% original the whole time. So when I went searching for ones that were like it, I found The Ugly was kind of like it, but I like my story better. I know I'm biased, but and then Mr. Brooks was the only other movie that I could find that was anything like The Dead Place. It's with Kevin Costner,
That's a
and
brilliant film.
Kevin Costner is like Kevin Costner. It's kind of a blurred line because you can't tell whether he's actually inside a genuinely good person or not. But this influence, this is constantly trying to get him to kill. So that's the only thing I could find that was similar to The Dead Place that is directly related to that type of story.
Will there be any instances of any comedy in it as well, since you're liking it to Evil Dead? Because I know there's some comedic moments in that as well. So,
Well,
and who
I
doesn't
can't
like a
help
good
it.
laugh with humor?
Yeah. Well, everybody who's read my writing and seen my films have seen I always like to put an element of comedy in everything. And then when I did my TV show, everything was just goofy comedy over the top. But with something serious like The Dead Place, I put comedy in there, but the comedy that rises out of real life, the comedy that rises out of people's personalities and the way they react to certain situations, rather than trying to write a comedic scene. It kind of just comes out naturally. Because when I'm writing, when I know I'm doing something right is when I'm in the middle of writing, I'm writing out a scene and there's a certain amount of characters in the room, right? And then all of a sudden a character will appear. I didn't even think that it was going to be there. Just a character will appear, walk in the door out of nowhere, and just start talking in my head. And that's when I know that I'm doing something right, that I've tapped into some type of energy and some type of artistic flow, that I'm really getting it out there. And the characters are speaking almost through my subconscious mind.
That's why you're brilliant. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you've got like a really good cast, like for the Dead. Like I know that we spoke, didn't we? And I managed to was like, is it this person? And you were like, mm-hmm. So that was kind of cool. What was I gonna say? So how did you manage to cast all these awesome people? Like, how did the casting process? Like, how did you manage to get them involved? Because you've got such a good cast.
Well, the first thing was a script. That's what drew everybody to the project. And the main one I wanted was David, because I knew he was going to be the biggest draw. So I started kind of courting him. I didn't want to send him, you don't want to contact somebody and just bombard them with a script right away. I wanted to gauge his interest. So I kind of wrote him. I gave him little details about the character, little details about the movie. He said, okay, I'm intrigued. Let me check out this script. And then I'd send him the script. And then after I sent him the script, he really wanted to do it, but his agent wouldn't take me seriously because it didn't have a budget yet. It's such a small project. So she wouldn't take me seriously. So I kept contacting David. David kept bugging her. So I kept contacting her, and she finally followed up, and we talked, and she liked the way the project sounded, and she liked the things I said about David and stuff. So I was finally able to get him, but it was mainly the script that drew the people in. And that's the most ambitious part of this project, is the script. I'm actually doing it in a way that you're not supposed to do it as an indie filmmaker. I'm going for the cast first, which is taking up most of the budget, because I'm not settling for anything less. And a lot of our budget is being taken up by actors from out of town that we have to fly in and give airfare and hotel. But it's because I didn't want to pick any cast, because I've waited so long to do this movie, for 15 years. I didn't want to pick any cast unless I knew for sure that was that person, and they could carry this movie, and they could bring the acting. I figured if I got the acting solid and down, then the rest of it would just fall into place. So now we're struggling trying to pay the cast and then get a big enough crew that we can also pay, because we don't want to pay the cast a bunch of money and then not pay the crew anything. So the budget we get kind of depends on how many people we have in the crew. Like if we have to, we'll have 2 or 3 people in the crew and we'll film it that way. But if we get enough budget, then we'll have a nice, professional crew in key positions. And then the rest of us who've done it for years and years kind of fill in the gaps.
Yeah, and I definitely want to touch in on your Indiegogo campaign. Just even if it generates a wee bit more, just even from something like this. But you've got some people who've contributed to the Indiegogo here, who have actually are going to be in the movie, which is really lovely. That's why I put it on your actual Dead Place Facebook page, because I thought, I know a couple of these people. I've spoken to them. I thought it'd be brilliant just to bring them in, and they can watch this too, because I usually don't do them like this, but I just think it's amazing. I've said to other people about the Indiegogos and stuff. They're really helping bring decent horror movies back, because you've obviously seen how crazy things have gone with the Terrifier franchise, and Stream looks like it's going to be doing brilliant. So it's just amazing, and it's the support that some independent films can get.
Yeah, I'm really lucky that through the course of preparing for the Dead Place and through the course of my career, that the popularity of the horror genre, especially indie horror, has kept rising and rising from year to year, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. So I got in there not only as a sweet spot for horror, it was a sweet spot for indie horror because of what Terrifier 2 did. It's unprecedented what Terrifier 2 did. It's an unrated film, extremely gory, and it was supposed to be in theaters one weekend, and all of a sudden it's a $10 million smash hit. So it really showed distributors the possibility of what a horror film can do, and how much audiences are hungry for horror films, really good ones.
Got a question from Montavious. He says, what is the ultimate goal in mind with producing this film for horror fans?
Say that again?
Oh, sorry.
This is from Michael. Sorry, it's for you. It's from Montavious. What is the ultimate goal in mind that you have in mind with producing this film for horror fans? What's your ultimate goal for this?
My ultimate goal is to, first of all, make part one that you all can be proud of, that you can look at it afterwards and you can be really happy that you supported it and proud that you supported it. And then when I do part two, it's engineered where I could do part one on a modest budget, do it effectively with the right cast, and then when part two came along, I could bump the budget up a little bit, take it to a different setting, and then when I get to the climax of part three, that's where the budget's really going to be up. So that's why I wanted to do it crowdfunding, because we could have went a traditional funding route and did just the equal amount of work or even less work and probably gotten a deal that way and gotten funding that way. But we wanted to do it crowdfunding because we wanted to give fans ownership of it. We wanted to make them feel like it's theirs because I'm making it for them, you know? So I just want to be able to make the trilogy, and then I have about 4 other ideas ready to go. One other script fully written is Voodoo Village. That one also got accepted into Shockfest this year. So after the trilogy, I'm going to go on to Voodoo Village, and then work on films from other members of the team, like James Rivera, and some films of Steve Deering's and stuff like that. And then just keep. I basically just want my films to be successful enough to keep making more films. That's my main goal, is just to keep making more films, because I have so many in my head, it's ridiculous.
Well, I hope to keep seeing some more stuff from you, and like I can't wait to see this one. Like, when is filming start?
We're thinking late March, early April. We're in the scheduling process now, so everybody that's actually got a part in the movie, all the fans that are actually going to have a part in the movie, like we'll be contacting everybody very soon and actually scheduling certain dates.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
My tagline's going to be boo. Tell everybody boo.
I love you, Kricket. You're so fun.
I know. I'm a nerd. I'm sorry.
Are you looking forward to go to the Dead Place, Kricket?
Oh my gosh, yes. I am so excited. Okay, so I'm going to definitely need your help, Michael, because I've never acted except for like playing Barbies when I was a little kid. Like that's the most acting I've ever done in my life. So I need you to give me a boot camp on how to be a ghost.
Well, I would normally be nervous about working with so many fans and with inexperienced actors, but this is where my guerrilla filmmaking experience really comes in, because I started my career like with the movie Stab Awake. I took 16 people, it's like 14 of my friends and 2 actors up to a cabin and filmed the whole movie. So and then each movie I've done since then, I filled it with friends, and then with each movie I did, and the more I got established in the business, the more actors I would replace my friends with. So I got used to going along and working with inexperienced people who weren't used to doing it, and really nurture whatever talent they had in them. I would nurture them and kind of bring it out. So that's really what I want to do with this, and put my experience to the test. And plus, it seems like a lot of the people have some type of experience. Like Jeremy Dixon has experience as a scare actor, and other people have experience like in haunted houses or in little short films and stuff like that. So I got really lucky to that people that bought these perks had actually had some type of experience in stuff like this.
Yeah, my son, he's gonna be in the scene with in the classroom scene with David, and he's been in the thespian league and every like he's done acting for as long as I can remember. So I'll pick his brain too. Should be good. I mean, I'll be fine. I mean, I'm a ghost. What the heck? I mean, can't be that hard,
Well,
right?
I'll be talking to everybody individually, and then whoever has the most experience and most comfortable in front of the camera, those are the ones that I'm going to give the most to do. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I kind of work,
Yep.
play toward everyone's strengths.
Okay. Nice. Good. Okay. No more than what I can handle because oh my gosh, pressure's on, man. Pressure's on.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not.
I don't want. Yeah, I don't want anybody uncomfortable in there. I want everybody doing something that they're comfortable with.
I think she's gonna nail it.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna make you proud, Scotty.
Do it. Do it for me, babe. Do it for me. I did see the other questions, but I'm not asking them yet because that's near the end. You have to wait. I've seen a couple come up, and I'm like, no, that's on the list. I can't ask that one yet. You have to wait your turn. You have to wait. But yeah, so I'm just reading about talking about pay up. Does Cricket want to ask you some questions?
Okay, so you just recently got a big distribution deal for Pay Up. I think it's coming out what, February next year? Is
Yeah,
that the movie? Is that the movie you were telling me you were going to be completely naked in? Okay, so one thing you got to know, anytime Scotty and I do an interview, we're always talking about nakedness and things like that. Yeah, David has been in trouble with us for that. Not in trouble, but in trouble for him, I guess. And so, is that the one where you were saying you are completely nude and you didn't even get the luxury of a cock sock? Am I allowed to say cock, Scotty? Okay, okay.
Fine. It's fine.
Yeah, the story called for the main character to show everything, and it's a tradition of mine. Each time I ask one of my actors to do something challenging, I do it myself so I can show them that I don't just ask people to do stuff. I'm willing to do it myself as well. So then there was another guy who was supposed to do it with me, but he chickened out at the last minute, so it ended up being just me. But I had no problem with it because especially in my younger days when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was a little wild and I liked to go streaking a lot. So I would go I would go skinny dipping in the ocean with my friends, and then I would come out of the water completely nude, and there'd be a group of about 9 strangers standing around on the beach talking. And I'll just walk up and stand next to them with my arms crossed. Oh, you really just kind of join the conversation, and all of a sudden they notice I'm naked and they scatter.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
So what did okay, because I guess it's kind of I like it. It's kind of rewarding because usually when there's nudity in a horror movie, it's usually women getting naked. So what did the rest of your cast, crew, all of those, how did they feel about you being the one they were going to be seeing naked?
Well, the female members of the cast and crew, they are actually pretty proud of it. They're like they're tired of the cliche of boobs and blood, you know. And there's a place for that, and I kind of like the boobs and blood movies sometimes, but I don't see myself making those types of movies. I don't like to exploit people like that. So I
Yeah, we
wanted to
want
turn
balls
the
and blood.
yeah, exactly. I wanted to turn the cliche on its head and do something the other way around. So everybody was proud of that, and then I thought it was going to be real awkward on set. So and all the guys did too. So all the guys were extra careful, not to even make any jokes or anything, and we're extra careful about the nudity. And then here's the girls just giggling, and there was like a prosthetic penis. There's a surgery scene in there, like a gory surgery scene. So there's a prosthetic penis, and the girls are running around the set waving around in each other's face. They're just having a good old time with it, and all the guys are all uptight and scared we're gonna offend somebody.
Did this
I'm
did
not
that
gonna lie.
prosthetic penis vibrate? Because of course the girls are gonna play with it.
I mean, if somebody's gonna give me like a prosthetic penis, I'm gonna wave it at people.
Yeah, why
Hit them
not?
with
Yeah.
it.
Why not? Or walk
And
around with it on.
it looks pretty real. I'm pretty proud of the way it comes out. I mean, every guy who sees that scene is gonna cringe.
Good. I'm
Yeah.
horrible, but good. But I've said this before, and I said it. We think we said it to David as well, and I was like, it's really nice to see it like a guy sort of take one for the team, more or
Mhm.
less. You know what I mean? Like, because it's always women, and it's just like it gets kind of like, from a woman's point of view, it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, cool, whatever. But you know, it's nice to see it a bit equality. There you go, a bit of equality.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
there's a place for the female nudity, but I just like there to be a reason for it.
Yeah.
You know, like what was that movie Death House? And it's Courtney Palm. She was in the Zombievers movie, and it seems like every movie she's in, she's topless or nude. So then she's in this movie Death House where she goes into this maximum security prison, and she's a FBI agent, and she's fully clothed in a pantsuit and everything. I'm like, all right, there's no reason for her to get nude in this one. Okay. The moment she gets there, her partner arrives, and for no apparent reason, she takes a shower in the prison with her partner for no apparent reason. Like, oh man, that's just gratuitous. Come on.
It can be a bit stupid sometimes. Like the things that we've seen, like especially like it seems like the more like sort of B movie type stuff, and it's just like you're just sort of peddling this mainly for young guys. But I like it
Exactly,
when it's
yeah.
smart. I like it when it's
well, that
smart.
movie Children of Sorrow that you had recommended to me, Michael, absolutely freaking loved it. It was so good. Bill Oberst Jr. gets down in full frontal nudity in that as well. So that was kind of
Nice.
okay. So I'm not gonna lie, it was exciting to see, but it was refreshing to see as well.
Yeah,
I'm
and he
girl.
done some like a self-mutilation type of stuff with it. Ooh,
Yeah. Oh my
man, that was
gosh.
hard to
Yeah.
watch.
Yep.
Absolutely into
That
this.
was insane. I'm not gonna say, Scotty, you just have to watch it. Oh my gosh. Everybody else, you have to watch it. It's yeah. Oh my gosh, Bill. Oh my
Definitely.
god.
Montavious says, any updates on the female lead?
Oh yeah.
No, not yet, but we do have about 5 or 6 very promising prospects. So we're just waiting to go through their audition tapes. But we have about 5 that are really promising. And that one of the things that was most heartbreaking about this project is right before we started, I had already chosen my Catherine. She was Catherine. I don't want to say her name. I don't want to shine a negative light on her. But I was so stoked that I found Catherine. She was actually a stunt woman, and she had been in the business and been in a lot of movies for years, since she was young, but she had never been up in front of the camera. So she had just this natural charisma. She felt like Catherine to me. She had this endearing way about her because Catherine is really like the emotional core of the movie. And then just about a week before we launched the campaign, she said she could no longer do it. Some fan went crazy and tried to take them to court and was trying to sue their family, and it was all kinds of court battles and stuff. So she was really having a hard time with it. So she had to drop out of the project. So that was really heartbreaking. And that's why we kind of had to pause casting and wait until we got the budget first. And then now we're hoping, now that we have this big cast and that we have a successful crowdfunding campaign, that will draw more talent to try out. And it already has. I just it wasn't even like official notice that I put out. I just could put it out on our social media pages, and we got a lot of really good responses so far. So I'll keep everybody updated if we find the one.
Yeah, I remember seeing that post. And you had like people coming up like this person. I was like, that's really lovely. I like that. It's like a lovely little community, and people are like, if the person's not on the page, other people are tagging them in it and going, maybe this person. It's like, that's really lovely. It really just like, you know, I've always been told, like, even just doing these interviews, it's like word of mouth. Like, it's not like, you know, you find out all these other people through other people, like you all connect, and it's really great.
Yeah, the way everyone's rallied around this movie, I'm so inspired by it. I'm so taken aback by it, and all this support just makes me feel like I can do anything. Like I still have moments of doubt and moments that where I feel like I'm an imposter, and filmmaking is a club that I'm not a part of. But then you guys supporting me like this really makes me feel like I'm doing something right. And then the things that you say and the things that you're excited about on the movie makes me feel that like you guys really get it and you're feeling the energy coming from this project, and that makes me really happy.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We had to talk about this, didn't we, separately? I think it was private. Well, it could have been a private conversation between us about like doubts and stuff like that. But you know, when you
Yeah.
see the response, it really does perk you up and makes you want to keep going. So it's really lovely. Like, it's lovely to watch everybody like coming together and stuff and talking. It's been, I know
And
from
we'll
my
get
just sitting
yeah,
back
we'll
and
get
watching, it's lovely, isn't it?
yeah, and we'll get to that 50,000. I mean, we were all nervous and everything. We're gonna try to do another big push for it
Yeah.
coming up now before Christmas as a birthday present to you, Michael. So I
That'd be
mean,
great.
and I think honestly, I think some of us have been talking about it. Why don't you and your brother Jody?
Yeah.
Is Jody your brother? Why don't you
Yeah.
guys auction off your original drawings that you've done? Like that would be cool. Put that as a perk or something.
Yeah, like Montavious and Thomas Stanek got together and gave me a whole list of ideas that I want to implement into the
Nice.
campaign in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, they're both here. Obviously, you've had the messages from Spontaneous, but Tom's here as well. That's who Galaxy Tablet is. I figured it out while we were talking.
I figured that was Thomas because
I was
he was saying, "Oh, that Thomas, he's gonna be such a great actor."
yeah, we were just up there. I was like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm with it now. I'm with it now. Took me ages. Took me longer
Just
than
good guys.
But yeah, no, it's awesome. I've turned my phone off, so I don't know what I'm doing. Continue, Cricket. You keep going. I'm trying to get my phone back on.
Okay. Let's see. Let me get my list of questions. Okay. Let's do a fun one while she's getting her her phone or whatever.
Have shit together. Okay.
Since we're talking about the Dead Place and everything, what has been your biggest challenge so far with the Dead Place?
First was getting the cast. That was the biggest challenge there, but the next biggest challenge was setting up the campaign, because I actually did more work in the weeks leading up to it than I actually did during the campaign. So it was just so much, because I I not only studied how to run a crowdfunding campaign. There was this crowdfunding guru who basically gave us his whole course on it. So everybody on the team watched the whole course, the whole series of tapes, and we researched other successful crowdfunding campaigns, like exhaustively researched it, and figuring out the absolute best way to approach it. So that whole process is probably the most challenging part of it so far. But since we actually started the campaign, like the way everybody rallied around it made me feel so good about it, because each week and each day it would just keep accumulating more fans, more people interested in it, and then the contributions kept going up, and I think there was only 2 days throughout the whole campaign where we didn't get donations. That we got donations on literally every other day of the campaign. So it kept my spirits up and kept my confidence up through the whole thing. And now I'm just kind of stressing that I just want, I have the minimum budget now to make this movie, and I just really want to do it justice. I don't want to have such a minimal skeleton crew to work with all these great fans and stuff coming in from out of town, and all these stars and everything. And I want a nice, decent crew to really put this movie together. So that's really what we're focusing on right now, is beginning pre-production while we're also trying to beef up the budget a little more. We want to get it to at least 50,000, then we'll be comfortable.
When
And
does the
speaking of
campaign
the Dead Place, What, honey?
Sorry, baby, go, keep going.
Oh, I was just saying, speaking of the dead place, okay, so about ghosts and seeing all these dead people, would you rather see a ghost of a stranger or a ghost of a loved one?
This one's hard. Actually, when you sent the question over, I got tears in my eyes because
Oh,
it's a loved one. I want to see my mom because the way that her father appeared to her when she was in trouble with me. Uh, I've been in trouble, mentally, and I've been into really dark places, and I've been through some really hard times, and I wanted her to appear to me during those times and tell me it was okay, and she hasn't. So I wish she would.
It's really
sometimes they come to us when we least expect them. My mom has also passed on, and there was a point in my life where I definitely needed something, and it was after my mom had passed, and she came to me in a dream, and she was talking to me, but I couldn't understand or hear what she was saying, but the next thing I felt was her just wrapping her arms around me and just giving me the biggest hug, and that meant more to me than anything. So, I mean, sometimes search your dreams too, because I mean, I think my mom comes to me a lot in my dreams.
Well, there's also actually I can't believe I'm talking about this, but there's an added layer of heartbreak that goes along with my mom's death because when she was on her deathbed, something really weird happened. Uh, you remember when I said that when I came home from the asylum that I was laying on the bed and those voices were around me talking about how I should be put away? I walked into her room and she was scared to death of me, and she started saying the same things that those people said around the table that day about me, and that she said that some people came to her, and she pointed at the TV in her room and she said that TV right there said people came into my room and they showed me multiple tapes of you killing people and torturing people. And so she died thinking that I was a killer.
Do you think
So
maybe
that's
that's some kind of premonition about your kills you're going to be doing in the movie? Maybe something like that.
yeah, it felt connected. I don't know if it was an extension of my psyche kind of invaded hers, or if it was whatever that was inside me that I took home from the asylum. Maybe it was still there, just in the back, just trying to just torment me. I don't know what it was, but it was really weird and surreal to hear my mom talk the way those people were around the bed that day.
I bet it was like terrifying, to be honest, because give me the heebie-jeebies a wee bit.
And I'm a sensitive guy, and I'm an emotional sponge. And I didn't even think I was the type of guy who could handle my parents' death. So my mom to die, and then that on top of it, her to go to her death thinking I was a killer and being scared of me, that was devastating.
Gosh, yeah, that's so hard. But when you were saying it, I thought the exact same thing as Cricket. I was like, maybe she's like had a premonition, and not really understood what it meant. Especially like if you've not expressed an interest in film before, it's maybe coming because I do believe that people can know things just before they pass and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe, but I'm sure she probably sees what you're doing and knows that's not who you are.
I do acknowledge that I'm playing around with some negative energies when it comes to stories like this, because I am putting a lot of emotion in it, a lot of soul, and a lot of personal experience into it. So it could conjure up a lot of negative feelings. I do realize that.
Yeah, but it is like I really appreciate you bringing it up. Like me and Cricket, we've had lots of conversations. We've had a lot of loss in the last couple of years as well. So, I think it is really an important thing not to just bottle up. I think it can do more damage bottling things up. So I really do appreciate you bringing the sad aspect of everything you're doing you know, like obviously with your mum and stuff. And
Yeah,
being
because
that
if
forefront.
you don't confront those hard feelings like that, they'll come back and bite you in the ass eventually, you know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
they'll consume you.
I won't say his name, but one of my exes, he lost his mum, and he took on like the role of looking after his family. And later down the line, it like I'm talking about 5, 6, 7 years down the line, then everything kicked off, and it was like it's because you just, you know, if you don't deal with it, it'll deal with you, sort of thing. And you know, it's really important to have that
At,
sort of.
at the time, you think you're being tough, you think you're being resilient, but all you're doing is pushing it back in the back of your mind so it can come rearing out at the wrong time, you know.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. It's rough. It's really rough, but you know, it does get easier. I've had to have this conversation with another family member just recently because they've just lost their mom, and I'm like, I'm only a year behind you, but it is, you know, it is. It does get better. It does get easier anyway. I wouldn't say necessarily better because it still sucks, but it does get easier. Time really does help put things into perspective.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
sending you loads of love though, because it is hard losing somebody you care about, especially a parent. Especially a parent. It's rough.
yeah.
Um. Oh, Montavious has put, besides filmmaking, what are your other interests?
I love bike riding because I told you guys before I have a really bad back. I have no cartilage between the bones in my spine, so it's hard for me to do anything without completely throwing my back out. So bike riding is the one thing I could find. It's not only an exercise that I can do without hurting my back. It's exhilarating. I go sometimes up to 50 miles at a time. Like I ride all the way. I go up to Santa Monica, and then I ride down the beach all the way down to like Long Beach.
Oh my god. I've seen like weird, as weird as it is, I watch some random crap on YouTube. I've seen somebody actually do that trip on a bike and it's stunning. It's such a beautiful, like, you know, like the sea. I love the sea anyway, but I've watched somebody like cycle it with their camera on the front and I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. I feel like I'm there, so I'm a bit strange.
And I love all the shoreside scenery going through and all the when you go past the Santa Monica Mountains up in Malibu and all that. But I also like to go through the little beach communities because each little beach community down the coast has its own personality. So some are kind of rough, have street vendors out on the street, and other ones are really fancy and all this streamlined houses and fancy restaurants and stuff. So it's cool to go through all those different types of areas.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to visit. I've never been. I've never left the UK, so I'd love to. That's one of my areas that's on my list of like places to go. And I've got a friend in San Diego, and I'd love to go visit her. And you know, you've got to do that. You've got to go and like go to LA when you visit because you kind of have to. And there's like a whole list. Have you ever been to California Cricket?
Oh yes, I was born in San Diego.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm rubbish. Maybe I did know that.
Yeah. I've been to San Francisco many, many times. San Francisco is pretty cool. It's definitely just the spice of life there. There's so many walks of life there, so many different people there, and so many talented artists. I mean, it's almost like going to New Orleans. Like, that's just a beautiful place too. But yeah, San Francisco's neat. It's got so many rolling hills, which you wouldn't think about, but it does.
Mm.
Also, I think that's also where Full House was filmed too, was in San Francisco. But
And
yeah,
that's
I love it. Yeah, I'm a California girl. Sure am.
and one
Born
of
and
the
bred
things I
there.
love one of the things I love about living out here is the ocean's not that far away, and then the mountains and the woods, forests aren't that far away. You can kind of get the best of both worlds.
When we were setting up the time for this, I made such a like I don't know what was going on with me. My brain is mush. But we were talking about it, and I said, "Oh, yeah, because Michael's only like 5 hours behind." And she went, "I don't think that's right." And I was like, "Yeah," and she went, "I went, he's in New York, isn't he?" She went, "No."
It's like, no, he's in California. It's
I don't
okay.
know why I thought that. Like, I'm sure I even checked your profile, like, because I always check as well. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're there. But you know, I always like to check roughly where things are so I can think of my time zones. And I was like, she was like, no, and I went, oh, good job I didn't tell him a certain time. It's gonna be like crazy trying to sort this. It's like you're so silly. It's like I'm the worst person to schedule it. When we used to do this with the group, I wasn't the one that scheduled the time, so I was like, somebody else sort that out because I will mess it up. I'm terrible.
We're all in completely different time zones. Like, Scotty, you're 6 hours ahead of me, I think, and I'm in Central. Yeah, and Michael's in Pacific, so he's
Yeah.
2 hours behind me.
I'm
Yeah,
so
crazy.
We're all,
We don't know what the hell time it is. And it's like midnight your time, Scotty.
nearly one.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
you know what I'm like. It's fine. Oh, Montavious has asked. I've lost it. There it is. Question for
Oh,
everyone.
yeah.
Are you guys excited to see children's stories becoming horror films, like the mean one in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? And he said it. You would love to see. This would be cool. Michael, this could be something down your up your
Yeah.
street, maybe. To see Snow White horror movie or an Alice in Wonderland. That too. Alice in Wonderland horror movie.
Oh,
Except the original stories are pretty horrific, right?
yeah.
If you just follow the original stories and make it a horror film, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be amazing. I'm not sure about Winnie the Pooh. I do want to see the mean one, which I need to try and find out because we don't know what's happening about getting it in the UK. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of digging for that. But yeah, like, you know, it's definitely going to be interesting, I think. Like, I don't know, I'm a bit, I don't know. If they're done good, they could be fun, but I think I'm going to pass on the Winnie the Pooh one just because it's
Yeah.
a little bit silly, I think. I don't know.
Well, even still, the mean one's coming to theaters. I thought David had told us that it was going to be streaming, but apparently it's going to come to theaters now. So that's pretty exciting. That's another bump up for independent horror.
Mm.
Yeah, and I looked back and found the announcement. There was actually an official announcement back in October that they were going to release it for free streaming in December, and then all of a sudden you hear, probably because of the success of Terrifier 2, it's getting a theatrical release now.
That's why next year is going to be your year, Michael.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. Have you got any other questions, Cricket?
Oh, yes. So, Michael, I know we've talked extensively about horror and all that. What is your favorite genre of horror? Like mine, I absolutely love documentary style found footage type horror movies. Those are my absolute favorite. So, what would your favorite be?
Well, I touched on it a little bit before. What interests me most is anything that explores demons. Like, not necessarily possession films, more like Evil Dead or the Demons or Demons 2. So those are the ones that interest me the most, but I literally get into every genre, especially once I became a student of the genre and started studying it for the podcast and just studying all different types of films and doing deep dives. Because on the podcast, we like to do deep dives, whether it's into a certain decade or going all the way back to the 20s. Just I love to do deep dives into the 20s films, 30s films. We did a deep dive into found footage films, but every single subgenre in horror has this rich history. And even if it's a subgenre that you don't normally like a torture porn, I don't really like torture porn that much, but there's some really good gems in there. So I like taking deep dives into all different types of genres and different decades of horror and stuff. So because there's great stuff out there everywhere you look.
Oh yeah, like Serbian film, like The Sadness. The Sadness, I was really impressed by. That was a very, very good one.
Do you
I
know
like that a lot.
it's based off a comic called The Crossed, which I read
What was
back.
that?
The Sadness is based off a comic book called The Crossed, which I read back in the early 2000s, to show my age there. But it's pretty top, and it was kind of cool to actually see it live. They did it. I think they did it justice anyway. Very
Well,
messed up.
I have kind of a funny story about a Serbian film. Back before it ever came to the States, I was a horror journalist at a site called morehorror.com, and I was the head writer there. And this guy from Serbia sent me this new film called a Serbian film, and he said, "You got to watch this and review it." So he sent it to me, and I watched it, and I was disgusted. I was appalled by it. I didn't think anybody should even make content this disgusting. So I did a scathing review of it, and I told all my readers not to go see it. And all of a sudden, it drummed up all this interest in it, and then it ended up coming over to the States. So I was one of the first ones in the States to see it. And then years later, there was an exhibition where they were the star of the film and the director were going to be there. They were going to have props and scripts and stuff, all this memorabilia from the movie, and they were going to show the movie. I was like, well, just for journalistic purposes, I'll go subject myself to this movie again, and I'll watch it with the director and see if I have a different perspective on it. I watched it with the director, and I had a complete flip flop on it. I really seen the appeal of it, and I seen the message they were trying to get across, and then I heard the stories behind the making of it, and it completely changed my mind on it. So I ended up going to the exhibition afterwards, and I was hanging out with the director and the star, and we were having a few drinks, so I got a little buzzed. So I started telling him about me giving his movie a scathing review and telling all my readers not to watch it, and he got the biggest kick out of that. He thought that was so cool that I kind of helped get his movie out there by giving it a scathing review.
I'm not gonna
Kind of
lie.
what happened with Terrifier too, isn't it?
It's true, yeah. You
Like
seldom
all those people that were being reported passing out and throwing up and everything, it kind of pushed that in the theaters as well.
kind of like a positive kind of like positive no like positive oh my god, positive publicity. Oh jeez, I need more coffee clearly. And,
No, you need to go to sleep.
positive
Poor girl.
publicity. I haven't watched Serbian film. I think it's because I've got kids. I think I'd find it just really difficult to watch. Like I've seen reviews, like Bloodbath and Beyond have done like a really good review on it, and a few other people have done reviews on it, but I'm just it's heavy. I've seen enough of it to go, I don't think my brain is going to be okay watching that. I think that one would stay with me too long. It's controversial, to say the least.
Very
Well,
controversial.
one movie that bothered me more than that one was Irreversible. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
It's a Gaspar Noé. Now that one, I always say that one is the best movie I've ever seen that I could never watch again. Because I watched that one really disturbing scene, and it made me feel so dirty and so disgusted. And I remember watching it, almost a sadness washed over me, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm never going to be able to get this scene out of my head. Oh no."
Yeah.
So it's such a brilliant movie, but I could never watch it again. It's just too much, too disturbing.
It was weird, 'cause although I knew the story, like the idea of it before I went into it, and I was watching it, and I was like, I mean, I did get why it's like so controversial in its way, and it was weirdly enough, like I'm assuming you mean the Monica Bellucci scene, that part, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one, yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, because it's long as well, you're like, oh geez, it just keeps going. But I think in some respects it brought, I've got to be careful what I say, but it brought a lot of like recognition to what women could go through, if you know what I mean, like the violence type thing. So I think
And it was a really interesting exploration of violence too, because the way it's told backwards, like you see the results of what this violence done to the people involved, and then you go backwards and see the violence. So you're mad at the person for being so violent at the beginning, but it's because you don't know what he's been through and what happened to his significant other and what informed his rage. So that movie actually inspired the music video that I did that also got accepted into Shockfest this year, Death Shrouds and Vomit Stains, where it starts out with a girl killing this guy, at showing up at his house and killing him, and then it goes in reverse all the way, and you see her walking backwards down the street and through an alley, and then you see her walk into the woods, and then she goes into a shallow grave. So he had hit her with a shovel and buried her in a shallow grave, and she kind of got up out of the grave and went to kill him. So you see her killing him first, and then you go backwards and see why she showed up to kill him. So that was an inspiration.
Is that on like YouTube or anything?
Yeah.
I'll get the links from you and post that in with this because I want to see that. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Nothing. Sorry, Cricket. Did I cut you off again?
Okay. No. Montavious is asking if your budget wasn't an issue for the Dead Place or anything, who else would you want to add to your movie? Like, what other stars would you want to add to your movie?
That's a hard one.
It's a good question, Montavious.
Very good question.
I think it would be like there was some people that I had in mind for Catherine. I don't know if you've seen Fear Street. Have you seen Fear Street?
Yeah.
You know the dark-haired girl that gets killed with a bread slicer?
I don't know her name though.
Yeah.
She kind of gets sliced with a bread slicer. I'd really like someone like her to be Catherine if money wasn't an issue. But it's not really a lot of big movie stars I want to work with. I want to work with the up and coming character actors and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
The main stars I want to work with are my favorite actors, Christian Slater and Juliette Lewis. It's my ultimate dream. I'm gonna do a movie starring them too, because I can't believe that they've been in so many of my favorite movies, but they've never been in a movie together.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
really
Juliette Lewis.
Juliette Lewis is beautiful. She's great. She is.
Yeah.
I have an erotic thriller that I have a treatment written for. It's called Sadistic Sexuality, and I wanted those two to star in it. It's about like an insatiable couple that can't get enough of each other, so they start getting bored right away, so they bring in a third partner, and then they accidentally kill that third partner, and then one of them wants to cover it up, and the other one wants to call the police.
Oh wow. Thomas has put, I can audition for it. Oh, there's another one from Monterials. I've lost it. I've actually tried to click it.
Who's your favorite effects artist?
Favorite effects artist? It had to be either Tom Savini or Greg Nicotero, the guys at K&B, because the K&B effects guys, first of all, Tom Savini's stuff looks very creative and very, very crazy and very artistic, but the K&B guys, their stuff looks like fleshy and real, and there's like depth in it.
I love
I
Greg.
really like what those guys do.
Yeah, I love Greg's work. It's brilliant. It's his work on the zombies on Walking Dead. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. Damien Leone, I've even told him this, that his style reminds me a lot of Greg Nicotero's. Like there's the scene in Terrifier 1 where he's stomping on the exterminator's head. That screamed Greg Nicotero, because he also did the effects for Hateful Eight, in which they did a similar scene in that. So yeah, it's very, yeah, he's a very good effects makeup artist too.
What I like about Damien.
Go ahead.
What I like about Damien is he puts such over the top gore, almost a B movie level of gore, but it's not B movie quality. It's like A-list quality, and it looks organic and fleshy, like you can reach out and touch it. Ugh.
Yeah.
Right. And while we're speaking of zombies and stuff, another good question from Montavious. Do you think you would ever explore a zombie remake movie, or would you want to add your own flair to the genre?
Uh, the only way I would do a specific subgenre like that, whether it be found footage or a zombie movie, it would have to be something completely different than hasn't been done before. Like I I got kind of tired of the zombie genre for a while, and then that movie Wormwood, Road of the Dead came out. I think it's an Australian zombie movie. That just breathes so much fresh air into the genre. I'd like to do something like that where it's a completely different spin on it. I don't like to do anything the same as anybody else.
Yeah. You got to make it memorable, make it something of your own. Like you said, it becomes memorable when it's something that's never been done before. Kind of like the movie The
Yeah,
Girl with All the Gifts. That was
yeah.
a brilliant take on the zombie infection, I guess I should say. Like that,
It
I was
really,
impressed by that story.
really clever, and it looked really good too. Really well filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marcus, when I interviewed him last week, he'd mentioned, because I'd mentioned Return of the Living Dead 3, and he said, watching Julie's transformation from a human into a zombie with all like her mutilation and stuff, that was like really made a really fresh take on watching the transformation as well. I love stuff like that though, but I do like zombie movies though, to be fair. It's one of my favorites. It's like a bit gore.
I just have one more question, Michael, out of my questions.
Yes.
So what makes your directing and writing style different than anybody else?
Well, for me, like I'm I'm influenced by people, but I have no desire to do what they do. Like as much as I love Quentin Tarantino and I love his writing, I like to put that type of rhythm into my writing, but really not the snappy type of dialogue. I like to have more organic dialogue, and it's just the way I approach it is I approach it as a writer first. I'm only a director and a producer out of necessity, just because I don't want to give my writing to somebody else and trust them with it. I want to do it with my own vision. So uh, it's I guess it's the rhythm I put into it, the the emotion and the care I put into the characters, and just the unwillingness to conform to anything really or make a copy of anything else. I think that's what makes me stand out. And just the fact that I put my whole self into each project, like I'm not concerned in churning out a bunch of movies. I put my whole self into it where I feel like I'm gonna die if I don't do it. And I'm not gonna do a movie unless I feel like I'm gonna die if I don't.
I don't have any other questions.
I'm
I
sorry,
mean, if anybody else.
I just sat there like, sweet.
No, we're all just like,
Oh, okay, I'm going to actually open these questions for everybody as well, just to see what everybody else thinks. But at the end of my segments with everybody, I've been doing this thing, and everybody seems to really like it. And we do like a bit of a movie swap. So like, we take like movie recommendations, and I think that's how you find out about these awesome films, because you hear it from other people who like these awesome films. So I was thinking we could do that, and I was thinking the people in the chat could also put their suggestions in, so we got more to watch, because I'm always up for that.
Nice.
So yeah, have you got any movie recommendations? And then I'll give you a couple, and Cricket can, and we can all go crazy.
I got a few in case you've seen them.
Okay.
Have you seen Severance?
I have not actually. That was on my list ages ago.
That's my personal all-time favorite slasher. It's got so much just kinetic energy to it. It's got so much comedy. It's got action in it. It's got one of the greatest final girls I've ever seen, Laura Harris from The Faculty. She plays the final girl in it, and then Danny Dyer. I just love Danny Dyer. I just watch anything that guy does.
He's hilarious. He is. Have you got any other ones that you want to? You can give us all of them. Like all your.
Okay.
yeah, I have the day off
Severance.
tomorrow actually, so I need stuff to
Oh,
watch.
cool. Definitely Plague Town. It's done by David Gregory. He's the owner of Severn Films, and it's like a really low budget movie, but really a lot of imagination. And it's got one of my favorite kills in it, where it's it's these children. It's a bunch of children in this town where they attack outsiders that come in, so that the teenagers and stuff, or the older girls, can breed with the outsiders, so they can purify their bloodline, because there's a lot of inbreeding in their bloodline. So all the children like incapacitate this guy, and they stick like vines from a tree into his eye, and they pull it through the bridge of his nose and come out the other side, the other eye socket, and then pull it, and then they hang him from a tree from his eye sockets.
Oh,
Is that a British movie? So it is.
Yeah, it's British. Yeah, it's a British movie.
Yeah, I've seen a review for that the other day and was like, oh, interesting. So, wow, I
It's
didn't
a-
know that. I didn't know that. But that sounds disgusting because I don't do eyes.
So Playtown and Severance are both British movies, and then there's a Canadian movie called Pontypool.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most original zombie movies I've ever seen, because people get infected through the English language. Like
Cool.
if they're having a conversation and they happen upon the word that's infected, then they start repeating that word so much that it drives them mad, and they start wanting to kill everybody in their vicinity.
Huh.
Crazy one. Have you got any Cricket?
Yes, I always have tons of movies I recommend to everybody. So I really like The House is October built.
That's good.
Those are really good. Contracted, those are really good zombie films, interesting stories as far as that goes. My all-time favorite movies are the Hell House LLC movies, and they're getting ready to make a new one, so I'm super excited for that. So that's just a few, but like off the top of my head right now, because I'm super tired. I will definitely put together a list though, so that way everybody can see what kind of stuff goes through my brain when I watch horror, and a lot of it is found footage, documentary style. I keep telling everybody watch Incantation. It's such a good one. Such a good one.
It's really good, yeah.
Still on my list. I haven't had a chance to yet, but I will.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Mine would be Fresh. It's a newer one.
Oh my god. Horrifier came up. Oh, shame on you, Thomas. I've seen it, but shame on you.
Somebody's put Horrifier in the chat. No, I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm like, oh.
Oh my god.
I mean, to be fair, I've seen some of it because Cricket sent me the link.
And they're making the second one, I think, too.
There's always one, and it's always somebody that I know that's the one that's causing the trouble. Yeah, Fresh, which is an interesting take on a. I don't want to tell you too much about it because I don't want to ruin it, but it is really good. It's got the guy from the Tom and Pammy. No, yeah, the movie that the TV show that they did about Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson. It's the guy that plays. That's where I've completely messed up. I probably won't even be that guy, but it's him anyway, and he plays the boyfriend. And like I said, I don't want to tell you too much, but it was really, I thought it was quite smart actually. I was like, I didn't go into it knowing what kind of movie it was, and I was like, oh, okay, like, so I liked Fresh. Fresh was awesome. Got the best part. This chat is naughty. Naughty chat. Badly behaved. Right, yes. Sorry. So let's see what we've got apart from Horrifier.
Bones.
I've seen that. Tusk. Yeah, Tusk is good. I'm gonna completely.
Yeah, Tusk is good.
Yeah, that was a good
Justin Long did so good in that. He really did.
And then I'm not even going to try and pronounce that because I'm just absolutely don't give the dyslexic things to read out. It's just terrible. But it's like a possession one. Anyway, I'll put it in the link because I ain't going to be able to pronounce that. Can you do it? Cricket, can you see that one?
Do what? See what one?
This is
The possession of Maticio? No, I cannot do it.
Okay, it's not just me because I was like, I'm not going to butcher it. I'm not butchering it. So yeah, that's that one.
Maticio? I don't know. I'm at a loss. Yeah.
Yeah. we're just rubbish. We can't read. It's okay.
Yeah, we're rubbish.
And then the next one is, I've lost it. Oh, favorite horror movie kills, and that can be for everyone as well.
Let me see. I wrote some down here.
Mm.
There's the eye sockets one I mentioned with Plague Town. Of course, Art the Clown splitting the girl in Terrifier. Have you seen the Hatchet movies?
I've seen the
There's-
first one.
There's 2 kills from the Hatchet movies. From Hatchet number 1 is where he takes that lady from behind and he opens her mouth and then he rips the top of her head off.
Yes, that was
That
brilliant.
one, and then the one from part 2 where the guy is having sex with the girl from behind, and then he gets his head cut off and he continues having sex with her with his head cut off.
Oh my god. I think I'm gonna have to watch Hatchet. It's not my fault I'm single now.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. It's like I've not seen the other 2, which is really disappointing because I'm a big Daniel Harris fan, so I'm just absolutely crap. But I've watched the first one, but I've not actually like sat down and watched that one. But that's kind of sold it for me. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. That's brilliant. Have you got any other ones, Michael?
Let me see the dry ice kill from Jason X.
Yep.
Who smashes the girl's head.
That was brilliant because you see her when she's in the water. Well, the liquid nitrogen, she's like, and then goes really hard, and it's like, perfect.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Very inventive.
And of course, Tina's kill from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Brilliant. That's a classic. That one is. Have you got any Kricket?
Favorite horror scenes? Well,
Yeah, like
death
kills.
scenes. Not any that really jump out. Of course, Terrifier is my all-time favorite movie. So definitely the split in half scene where she's only half the woman she used to be. I absolutely loved the kill that he did in the bedroom as well in Terrifier 2. Like that was just brilliant. And they even had to make a dummy that could breathe and talk and move when they made that. And so yeah, it was just brilliant the way they put that all together. Otherwise I would say Cannibal Holocaust is definitely one of my favorite movies. Just it even got banned in so many different countries because people really thought it was a real movie of these tribes killing and eating people. There's this amazing scene that stands out in that movie to me where they are actually taking their primitive, I don't want to call them knives, but I guess that they made from rocks and stuff, and they're skinning the guy alive. I think that is probably one of my most favorites. Otherwise, Eli Roth, love Eli Roth. His Green Inferno movie, the part where, of course, where he has the guy tied to a stake, and then the red ants are eating him, or the part where they're taking out the guy's eyeball and eating it. Like so many good ones. So many good ones.
I'm trying to think. I completely forgot what it was. It's so useless. I was like, "Oh, that one," and I was like,
"Yeah, there's some good stuff out there. You gotta watch, honey. I'll send you all these movies too. Trust me, I will."
There's like, if you ever seen, well, this one that it's not necessarily kill scene, but it does. It literally had it literally, I can't even talk. It literally evoked a reaction out of me when I was watching. So it's not necessarily exactly a kill scene, but spoiler, the character does die later. Not as cool as what he had to do. But if you ever seen a movie called Would You Rather, and the guy had to like slice open his eyeball with a blade. Oh, what are you doing? Oh no.
Ricky from Trailer Park Boys is in that movie.
That really creeped me out. And I was like, nope, leave the eyeballs alone. What are you doing? So yeah, that was a good one. Even though it's not a death, but it was awesome. And it definitely deserved a recognition. It
Yeah,
was
it didn't get enough love. Not
Mhm.
at all. It was a great movie.
You usually find that the older like 80s type movies have got some really insane kills in them. They're like, holy crap. Let's have a look what everybody else has put. Oh, yep, I've gone too far. So you got the puppet death scene, which is like a favorite, isn't it? That's like one of the classic ones. We've got the guy's veins and everything comes out. Oh, it's a good one. Sleepaway Camp. I actually thought of a different one when I seen this come up. But Angela killing the camp cook in the kitchen. I was thinking of the tongs and the lady garden. That one really got me. I was like, yeah, that's like a kind of like just like kind of like an inspiration for the Terrifier scene. It was like this was like mild, and then the Terrifier one, which is getting cut in half. You're like, oh, you've upped it then. Yep, okay, cool. That was a good one. Also in Sinister 2, the rat scene in the church. I've not seen them, so I can't help. Is it good?
Oh yeah, aren't you a big fan of those Sinister movies, Michael?
Oh yes, I love the Sinister movies.
They're so good.
Especially the first
So
one.
good.
I love Ethan Hawke, and I think he's the main reason why the first one was so scary.
Yeah.
Because you see the fear, you see the fear on his face, and he looks genuinely frightened.
He's a good actor. He is. He's awesome. And then my last question, and then I'll ask everybody else if they've got anything else. So if you've got anything, get typing. Last one is because this was the one that came up earlier. Is there any like dream actors that you would love to work with? It doesn't necessarily have to be for The Dead Place, but just if there was no limit and you could direct somebody or like just work with somebody, who's your number one, or as you want?
Well, Christian Slater and Juliette Lewis are the main ones, and I'd also love to work with Andy Garcia, Donald Glover. I'd love to actually collaborate with Donald Glover on something. Adam Goldberg, he was in the movie Prophecy. I'd love to work with him. I think he's a very underused actor. And Chloe Moretz, I would love to use Chloe Moretz. I think she's misused a lot too.
I love her to death. She's so good.
Is it Dark Shadows she was in recently?
Yeah, she was in that one, yeah.
Well, not recently, but yeah. But she was awesome in that. I thought she was hilarious. I thought she was really good comical timing with that. It was really awesome.
I liked her in The Fifth Wave. That was such a good movie. She acted her ass off in that.
I'm watching this show of hers, Peripheral. It's on Amazon Prime. It's a really good show. It's a really good show.
Okay. Thomas has put Ethan Hawke will be in Dead Place 3. And
that's another one I'd love to work with, Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, he was good in Black Phone, wasn't he? He was freaking creepy.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, let's go act together in something then, Thomas. Even though we've already established I have no idea how to act. I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out though.
You'll figure it out. Would anybody want to talk to Michael before we round everything up? I have to wait till the type in. Should have asked this get going. We're waiting. But if anybody would like to talk or say anything, I would. We love you.
We
Do you
love
want to
you,
actually say
Michael.
it though, Montavis? Do you want to talk to Michael? You can tell him yourself.
Yeah, tell him you love him.
I'll give him a go. Do you know what? I'll just ask him to unmute and see what happens. If it doesn't happen. I'm not just talking about throwing people under the bus. It's like, go.
Aw.
Michael, you're the reason why I wanted to be involved in The Dead Place. That's from Thomas.
Aw.
That's really lovely.
That is lovely. God, we're such sass. We're all in this crazy horror mind and we're all weirdos, but we're all so sweet. What the hell's wrong with us?
Yeah, everybody's so lovable and cuddly.
You're just seeing me on a good day.
She's much more sassy. She's loads sassy, aren't you?
I'm tired. Yeah.
Am I
20 hours in 2 days, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
am I right in thinking that everybody that, apart from me, apart from me, everyone else has actually got like parts in the movie? Am I just twigging that? Am I being?
Nope, Montavious, Thomas, Doug, myself. Are you going to be in it, Michael? Are you going to actually have a part in it too?
There was people were telling me that I should insert myself into it somehow. I think I'll be a ghost in there at least one scene.
Nice. All right.
Oh, nice. Well, I can't
You
wait.
ghost with me. Show me how it's done.
Okay.
I can't wait to see it, and I can't wait to see everybody I know. Do you want to say anything, Doug? Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got thumbs up. I was like, yay.
Yay, Doug. Thumbs up.
Hello, how you doing?
Hello.
I just want to say it's first of all, it's just a real pleasure being here with you all, and finally getting to say hi to all my overseas friends, and as well as people from the UK as well. I mean, it's a real great adventure. I think everybody coming together like this. And it's fantastic. Thank you for having me sit in with you tonight, and I'm just really looking forward to sort of being part of all this journey with you all, and getting to know you, and finally meeting up with you as well. So yeah, it's been good.
So much fun. Yeah. Don't worry, I'll take you under my wing, and then Michael will
bless
take
you.
us under his wing.
Thank you.
Montavious has put matching Dead Place tattoos.
Heck yeah, we should. We should. I like tattoos.
Maybe when you rap.
I got one or two.
Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah,
should.
I'm in. I'm game. Heck yeah.
Thomas, did you want to say anything?
I think you have to address him as Galaxy Tab A.
Sorry, Galaxy Tab A. Screw it, I'll just ask him.
We're just messing.
No, come on. Why are you being like this? Zoom does not want to play today. Every time I ask them to unmute, they're like, no. You do it?
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to meet you in person, Michael. I can't wait to meet Doug, Montavious, Thomas. Like, I'm so excited. And then Carrie and Ronnie, I absolutely love those two. They are so great. So I mean, it's going to be like a little family reunion, and it's crazy how many people from AtCast you have in this movie.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
When we all meet.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This is already the most fulfilling time of my career. Just all the fans that have gathered around this movie. I've never had such a response from anything I've done before, and I'll never forget it.
Well, we definitely believe in you. Definitely. You're gonna make something exciting for horror. I've said it so many times, but yeah, you're definitely gonna give us something to be excited about, and for all horror fans to be excited. I have to be careful when I say that. It sounds like I'm saying horror, but I'm saying horror. Okay, horror fans are gonna be excited for The Dead.
I think
1, 2, and 3.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that is us. We've got no more questions left. So
no, I don't.
so much, Michael.
If you can still hear me, let me just tell you something quickly. I know earlier on in the interview you touched on the horror genres swapping to sort of like almost like kids programs where they're sort of horrorizing the Winnie the Pooh and other things like that. Well, I actually saw something tonight on Facebook, and I've got to look into it more at the moment, but Bambi is on the cards. It is literally on the cards, and I have no idea what it's going to be like, or whether it's just a wind up or whatever. But I'm going to leave that one with you anyway to think about.
You tag me in that. I need to read about what the hell is that?
Bambi? Oh, it's
Yeah,
got deers.
I know.
Yeah.
I know the Disney film. What's this the horror?
Oh, okay.
What the hell?
There's this picture of this little sort of zombified deer standing over some rabbit it had mauled to death or something like that.
Is it animated? Or is it
I don't know. don't know. I don't know whether it's going to be an animation or whether it's just somebody's idea of a bit of a wind up, but yeah, it was on there anyway.
Have a good way of doing it. All good fun. Oh my god.
All right, so group, let's rally together. Let's figure out how to push the campaign to 50,000. We'll do it. We did it. We got to the earlier goal of 35,000. So we're gonna think of some ways to get this out. And we already got a street team now. That's,
Yeah.
so.
Me and Doug will be your UK.
Absolutely. Well, I'm due to attend a Comic-Con next weekend. Now I mean, if I'd got some way of sort of dropping some sort of flyers or something off, I could easily do that. Try and get some printed out here or something like that. So
yeah, that's a great idea. Great idea. Yeah, we'll do it. We got you, Michael.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, everybody rallying like this.
Yeah. Well, we all believe in what you're doing, and we think you're awesome. I think you're great, like just personally as a person. So I always fully believe in like working with the people that I like. That's why I do the interviews, and I only do them with people I like. You know what I mean? Like if you get like a rapport with somebody, you're like, yeah, I want to help you. I mean, I'm not exactly a massive channel, but it's just like there might be somebody there who's seen other things and gone, ooh, that'd be interesting. So you never know. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. Especially
Small world.
coming up. Should be good. Should be good. But yeah, thank you so much,
Thank you
Michael.
so much,
I really
Michael.
appreciate it. It was great.
And we can all say we'll see you in the dead place.
I'll see you in the
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much.